Change doesn't have to be massive to be meaningful. In fact, the smallest changes, done consistently, can reshape your entire life. Atomic Habits by James Clear is not just a book about self-improvement, it's a guide to understanding how the tiniest actions, repeated over time, build up to remarkable results. Whether you want to get healthier, more focused, or simply more consistent, it all begins with one small habit, one atomic step. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new audiobook that could change the way you think, work, and live. This journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And it starts with awareness, discipline, and small, simple steps that anyone can take. Throughout this audiobook, we'll explore how habits are formed, how to break the ones that hold you back, and how to create a system that naturally leads to success. So take a deep breath, relax, and get ready to learn how to master the invisible forces that shape your daily life, because big change begins with small habits. Let's begin Chapter 1, The Fundamentals, the Power of Small Habits. Change doesn't always begin with something dramatic. More often, it begins quietly, with one small choice that seems almost too simple to matter. This chapter reminds us that every habit, no matter how tiny, is a vote for the kind of person we are becoming. James Clear explains that success is not the result of one massive effort but the accumulation of countless small, consistent actions repeated over time. Like drops of water carving a stone, these habits shape the direction of our lives. Imagine improving yourself by just 1% each day. It doesn't sound like much, but over time, the results compound. Just as money grows with compound interest, your habits multiply their effects as the days, weeks, and years pass. Tiny improvements, repeated regularly, lead to remarkable transformation. This is the essence of the book's message: focus on the process, not the outcome. Clear emphasizes that habits are not about achieving goals but about building identity. When you focus only on goals, your motivation fades once the goal is reached. But when you shift your attention to who you want to become, your habits naturally align with that identity. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," say, "I am a runner." Identity gives your actions purpose, it makes change sustainable. He introduces the concept of habit loops, a cycle made of cue, craving, response, and reward. Understanding how these loops work allows you to reshape your behaviors consciously. When you know what triggers a habit and what you gain from it, you can design your environment to support good choices and discourage bad ones. The beauty of small habits is that they don't require willpower as much as they require consistency. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight, you just need to show up every day, even in small ways. Reading one page, doing one push-up, or writing one sentence might feel trivial, but it's enough to keep the momentum alive. In the end, the fundamentals of change lie in simplicity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And systems are built through habits. When you understand this truth, you stop chasing quick fixes and start designing a life that improves naturally, one small action at a time. Chapter 2, Make It Obvious, the Power of Awareness. Change starts with awareness. You can't fix what you don't notice. In this chapter, James Clear explains that the first step to building better habits is to make them visible, to bring them into the light of your daily awareness. Many of our actions happen on autopilot. We brush our teeth, check our phones, or grab a snack without thinking. By learning to see these invisible patterns, we gain the power to change them. Clear introduces a simple but powerful idea: every habit begins with a cue, a small signal that triggers a behavior. It might be a time of day, a place, or an emotional state. For example, feeling bored might cue you to scroll through social media, while seeing your running shoes by the door might cue you to exercise. The goal is to make good cues obvious and visible, and to hide or remove cues that lead to bad habits. To help identify your habits, Clear suggests creating a habit scorecard. Simply write down your daily behaviors and label each one as positive, negative, or neutral. This exercise shines a light on the automatic patterns controlling your day. Once you see them clearly, you can begin to choose which ones deserve to stay. Awareness itself is a powerful form of control. One of the most effective techniques introduced here is habit stacking. It's a method for building new habits by linking them to existing ones. The formula is simple: after I, current habit, I will, new habit. For instance, after I make my morning coffee, I will write one sentence in my journal. This approach works because it uses the rhythm of your current routines to anchor new behaviors, making them easier to remember and repeat. Clear also talks about environment design. Instead of relying on willpower, shape your surroundings to make good habits obvious. Want to eat healthier? Keep fruits visible on the counter and hide junk food out of sight. Want to read more? Place a book on your pillow so it's the last thing you see at night. Your environment silently guides your choices. Make it work for you, not against you. The message of this chapter is simple: clarity creates consistency. The more obvious and visible your desired habit is, the easier it becomes to follow through. Don't wait for motivation, design your life so that the right behavior is the easiest one to choose. When your cues are clear, your actions become automatic, and your growth becomes unstoppable. Chapter 3: Make it attractive, turning habits into something you want. Every habit you form is driven by desire. Without desire, even the easiest task feels heavy. In this chapter, James Clear explains that if you want to build good habits and break bad ones, you must learn how to make them attractive. The more appealing a habit feels, the more likely your brain will choose it again and again. This isn't about forcing discipline, it's about designing motivation. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. When something feels good, our brain releases dopamine, a chemical that tells us, do that again. The problem is that modern life floods us with quick dopamine hits, social media likes, fast food, instant entertainment, while long-term, meaningful habits often feel dull in comparison. To reverse this, Clear suggests pairing new habits with something enjoyable. For example, listen to your favorite podcast only while cleaning, or enjoy your favorite drink while studying. This creates a positive emotional link, making the habit more rewarding. Clear introduces a concept called temptation bundling. It's a clever trick where you combine something you want to do with something you need to do. Imagine saying, I'll watch my favorite show, but only while exercising on the treadmill. Over time, your brain begins to associate exercise with enjoyment. Instead of seeing effort, it sees pleasure. That small shift can make all the difference. Another key idea is social influence. We tend to mirror the behaviors of those around us. If you spend time with people who exercise, read, or work hard, you'll naturally start doing the same. Clear divides social groups into three: the close, family and friends; the many, society; and the powerful, those we admire. Aligning your habits with these groups can boost motivation. Joining a group where your desired behavior is normal makes that habit far easier to adopt. The environment of belonging plays a huge role here. When you feel accepted by people who share your goals, your brain connects positive emotions to those habits. This is why communities, whether fitness clubs, study groups, or online forums, are so effective. You don't just chase results, you share an identity with people who value the same actions. That sense of connection keeps you consistent even when motivation fades. Ultimately, the secret to lasting habits lies in desire, not discipline. If you make a habit attractive, by linking it to pleasure, belonging, or self-respect, it stops feeling like a chore. It becomes something you want to do, not something you have to do. When the habit feels rewarding in itself, consistency follows naturally, and progress becomes a joyful process rather than a struggle. Before we continue the book, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Your support helps us bring you more amazing audiobooks every week. Chapter 4: Make it easy, remove the friction and start doing. Success is not about doing more, it's about making the right things easier to do. In this chapter, James Clear explains that our brains naturally choose the path of least resistance. If something feels complicated or requires too much effort, we delay it. But if it's simple and quick, we do it without hesitation. That's why the secret to building good habits isn't more motivation, it's less friction. Many people believe that success comes from discipline or willpower, but Clear shows us that environment design is far more powerful. If you want to exercise, don't rely on self-control, just make your gym clothes easy to reach. If you want to eat healthier, place fruits where you can see them. Every small change in your surroundings makes the right behavior more convenient, and the wrong one harder. You don't need to fight old habits, you just need to make new ones easier to start. Clear introduces a key idea: make it easy to start, not perfect to finish. Most people get stuck waiting for the perfect time or perfect plan. But habits grow from repetition, not perfection. It's better to start small and do something every day than to aim for flawless effort once in a while. For example, doing one push-up is better than doing none. Reading one page is better than waiting for free time to read a whole chapter. The goal is to build momentum. Another powerful technique is called the 2-minute rule. Clear suggests scaling every new habit down to the first 2 minutes. Instead of read every night, say, open the book. Instead of run every morning, say, put on your running shoes. Once you start, it's easier to keep going. Action leads to motivation, not the other way around. The hardest part of any habit is beginning, it's the small push that breaks the cycle of procrastination. Clear also reminds us that repetition is what rewires the brain. Each time you repeat a behavior, your brain strengthens the neural pathway that supports it. Over time, the action becomes automatic, requiring less thought and energy. Think of brushing your teeth or locking your door. Habits become second nature when practiced often enough. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent. In the end, making habits easy is about reducing resistance, simplifying choices, and focusing on showing up. When the first step becomes effortless, your brain no longer sees the habit as work. The easier it is to begin, the more likely you are to continue. As Clear beautifully puts it, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Build a system that makes good habits simple, and success will naturally follow. Chapter 5: Make it satisfying, the power of immediate rewards. Humans are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. This is why James Clear says that making a habit satisfying is the final, and perhaps most powerful, step in making it stick. When something feels good, we want to repeat it. When it feels unpleasant, we avoid it. The key is to make your good habits feel immediately rewarding, even if their true benefits come later. This simple idea can transform the way you approach change. Most people struggle with habits because the rewards of good behavior are delayed, while the rewards of bad behavior are instant. Eating junk food gives you pleasure now, while eating healthy shows results later. Skipping a workout feels good in the moment, but harms you in the long run. Clear teaches that to build strong habits, we must reverse this pattern, make good habits instantly satisfying and bad habits instantly unsatisfying. One of the best ways to make habits satisfying is through habit tracking. Each time you complete your habit, mark it down, on a calendar, app, or notebook. Seeing a visual record of your progress gives your brain a small but powerful dose of satisfaction. It turns an invisible process into something you can actually see. Over time, that growing chain of success becomes a source of pride and motivation. As Clear says, don't break the chain. Small rewards also play a big role. They don't have to be extravagant, just meaningful enough to make your brain associate the habit with a good feeling. For example, treat yourself to a cup of your favorite tea after studying, or listen to a song you love after finishing your workout. The reward closes the feedback loop and tells your brain, this action is worth repeating. Clear also warns about the danger of breaking the cycle. Missing one day isn't a failure, but missing 2 days in a row can easily become a new pattern. That's why consistency is more important than perfection. Focus on showing up, even if your effort is small. Doing something is always better than doing nothing, because it keeps your identity as someone who takes action alive. Each repetition reinforces who you believe yourself to be. In the end, making habits satisfying is about celebrating small wins and recognizing progress, no matter how minor it seems. Every checkmark, every reward, every successful day builds momentum. The journey of self-improvement is not about suffering through discipline, it's about finding joy in growth. When good habits feel rewarding, they stop being a struggle and start becoming a natural part of who you are. Chapter 6: Advanced Tactics, Mastering the Long Game. Building good habits is not just about starting strong, it's about staying consistent when life gets messy. Once your new habits are in place, the real challenge begins, keeping them alive through change, stress, and time. Advanced tactics are about learning how to adapt, adjust, and evolve. They teach you how to maintain progress even when motivation fades or circumstances shift. The goal is no longer just forming habits, it's mastering them. The first step is to understand that setbacks are normal. Missing a day, losing focus, or falling back into old patterns doesn't mean failure. It's part of the process. The secret is not to aim for perfection but for recovery. Successful people don't avoid mistakes, they recover from them quickly. They know how to restart without guilt or frustration. Every time you return to your routine, you strengthen your identity as someone who doesn't give up. As you grow, your habits should grow with you. What worked at the beginning might not work later. Life changes, jobs, goals, priorities, and your system must adapt too. Review your habits regularly and ask yourself, does this still serve me? Sometimes you need to adjust the difficulty, shift the timing, or replace a habit with something new. This flexibility keeps your habits alive and aligned with your current self. Another powerful tactic is to focus on identity-based habits. Instead of saying, I want to run every day, say, I am a runner. When your habits become part of who you are, consistency feels natural. You no longer rely on motivation, you rely on identity. This simple shift makes it easier to continue, because breaking the habit would feel like breaking your sense of self. To stay consistent in the long term, use reflection and tracking. Seeing your progress visually, whether it's a journal, an app, or a calendar builds satisfaction and pride. It reminds you how far you've come. Even a small streak can motivate you to keep going. But remember, tracking is not about perfection, it's about awareness. It helps you notice patterns, understand challenges, and celebrate wins, no matter how small. In the end, mastering habits is not about doing more, it's about staying mindful. The goal is progress, not perfection. You will have ups and downs, but what matters is your ability to return, learn, and keep moving forward. When habits become part of your identity and lifestyle, you no longer have to force them, they become who you are. That's when you truly master the art of long-term change. Conclusion: the art of lasting change. Change doesn't happen overnight. It grows slowly, like a seed that turns into a tree. Each small habit you build, each decision, each repetition, adds another layer to the person you are becoming. The power of habits lies not in single actions, but in the quiet consistency that shapes your identity over time. When you focus on progress, not perfection, you begin to realize that growth is always within your reach. Every habit you choose is a vote for the future version of yourself. When you eat healthy, read, or exercise, you're saying, "This is who I am." And when you slip, because everyone does, returning to your habits is how you say, "This is who I'm becoming." Real transformation is not about willpower, it's about creating systems that make success easier and failure less permanent. That's how small changes turn into lifelong growth. In the end, the journey of habits is a journey of self-discovery. You learn what truly matters, what makes you strong, and how much control you have over your life. Each habit is a quiet reminder that you can always start again, no matter where you are. So keep showing up, one small step at a time, because the person you dream of becoming is already within you, waiting to be revealed through your daily actions.